cover 50% of costs, 50, 60% of costs. The other part of cost was covered by taxation, by public funding. We decided to stop these things and to put all the costs in tariff without any shadow pricing, And this is it was a big problem for public opinions because our tariffs rises very, 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 very strongly, even because we avoid every shadow pricing activity. And so this was one of the reasons of the increasing of tariffs. Full cost recovery principle is important because it's important to pay water for what it costs and to avoid using not correct use of water. And so it is important, and we appreciate the fact that when the tariff increase, the consumption reduce. And this is a very, very real, it happened in Italy in a very, very, very clear way. The second principle of our tariff methodologies was polluter pay principle. For sewage and treatment plants, we have to pay everything we do because we are making a pollution. This is a European principle. It's very, very important. We can't have any taxation about this. We can't use public funding to cover pollution, but the single polluter must pay exactly what he is making. And this is important to add to the full cost recovery principle that are the two principles very, very important for us. And so it becomes some incentives for saving waters and to reduce pollution in our country. Tariff methodology is very, very complicated. I know if we have 1 minute to show it in some details. National authority define a small regulation leg, a small regulation period is now 4 years. So we decide tariffs for 4 years in 4 years. Every 4 years we make it fresh. This is interesting because it's not too long, it's not too short. It's a good time for a planning of tariffs, and so this is a good decision for us. Second thing is the calculation is very complex. It is based on the provider data. We don't have standard costs. We base all our calculation on historical cost of provider. Of course, this is a problem. Authority decide to introduce to use standard costs in some years, maybe 2-3 years. But they wanted to have a long-term set of data before organizing standard costs. And we are making this period. We are waiting for a standard cost when the national authority has a good set of data analyzed in these years. Important decision of the last time it was that we put in tariff investment costs after we did it, not before. For long term, for the 10 years before, we use the other way. So we have in tariff the money before we do. It was very, very useful, interesting for companies, of course. But the authorities said that it was not correct because many providers took a tariff and didn't make the investment, and so they decided to organize a new system in which you have money in tariff when you start the asset, when the pipeline is working, not before. And this is a problem for companies, of course, for financial problems, but I think it could be interesting because it's more strong as to do quickly investments. Everyone is interested to make investment very, 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 very quickly. We have a price cap system. We can't raise the tariff more than 5-8% per year. This is a very strong decision. It's impossible to do that. And we, after a long discussion in Italy, we have had a referendum too on this point. We have financial costs inside the tariff and profit sharing activity inside the tariff. So it's our methodology imagine that the companies can have a profit. This is a reason for argument for a long discussion in Italy. But without this point, it's very, very difficult to go to the bank, to the financial system, to have money, to make investment, because you have to have a good running of your activities, industrial activity, and your costs and revenues have to be good. And so we need to have some controlled profit part of the tariff. Other things important in the last time of the regulation was environmental costs and water protection costs are inside the tariff. So you don't make sewage, this I think could be interesting for you. You don't make sewage and treatment plants, you have an environmental cost to put inside the tariff, all the same. So it's impossible to have a small tariff because you don't do pollution activity, because you have at the same time a piece of time you have to pay this and you have to take the money aside to do that kind of investment. This is another way to stimulate to as an incentives to make the companies do investment and activities on sewage and treatment plants. This is important for us, and because we have had a big part of Italy without sewage and without treatment plants. It was a very, very big environmental problem, and we are solving it even through this kind of decision. We put a real cost in tariff. I think it could be interesting for you is even this point. We calculate from 2 to 6% of arrears as a physiologically behavior of customers. In the North Italy is 2%, in the center 4%, in the south is 6%, but it is covered by tariff. If you have arrears and you can have that money, you have a part of the tariff here cover these losses. And this is interesting because it's a circuit in which the company is not in the problems, in financial problems, when you have arrears over such a level. We decide to make rainfall water in water service price, but I think it's not interest for you. This is a very, very complicated scheme of water. We decide to use increasing blocks for the part of billing directly to the customers. I know you are using it too, so I think you understand what is increasing block systems. We pay water less if you use a small amount of water, and you pay a lot of money, much more money if you use more water. I think you can understand. The euros for the first block is 0.3, the euros for the second block is 1.2, only for water supply, and at the end we have 4 years. So the point is 1 to 10, the relationship from the first block and the last block. Of course, this kind of increasing block tariffs is only for water supply, as you can say from this picture, and you don't have any increasing blocks in the sewage and in treatment plants. We are discussing about if it is useful